CTM, what's going on, everyone? I hope you're well and doing great on this Tuesday, old school Taco Tuesday. Nice to see Bitcoin here on the Bid Tuesday. What's the story with gold and silver? That is quite some volatility, no doubt. Is this the beginning of some rotation? I personally don't think so. And I think in the title here we have to talk about like the final battle, gold versus Bitcoin, and that indeed will be the final battle for the neutral asset, neutral reserve asset. But right now the battle is actually between, right? It's between gold and U.S. Treasuries, and gold is winning, and gold is making significant ground. And this today is nothing more than a skirmish. A lot of leverage traders probably getting wiped out. There are a lot of people who will tell you that, you know what, either you hold the physical. It's not any different than Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin without leverage, and you'll be able to participate and not get wrecked. It's similar, especially when you're talking about gold and the RSI, where we got as high as 93, but we've been since February with an RSI that has been overbought on the monthly time frame since February. And you know what? It like is this nothing more than a shakeout? Has something fundamentally shift that you're going to see sovereign say at this particular juncture? Um, I believe that forget it. We're gonna stop stacking gold and we're gonna move towards US treasuries. I don't think so. I am, by the way, I'm a sound money guy, a hard money guy. I root for both Bitcoin and gold. Now, ultimately, it'll come down to a showdown, and ultimately, Bitcoin is going to win. But until we get to that particular juncture, which we're not even close to, from my own assessment, right now we root for both because gold provides massive cover here for Bitcoin here to stealthily do Bitcoin things. That's what we're looking for. Are you seeing people today saying, you know what? I'm going to sell my gold, sell my silver, and buy Bitcoin? Probably, maybe some Bitcoiners have been, and you've been seeing on the feeds, lining that up for the past few days, and that could be. Is that what caused this today? I don't think so. Has that come too far too quick, or is this just the beginning of a long consolidation? If we could be so lucky, we are now entering into a period of consolidation here for gold and silver. I certainly hope so. I don't like to see silver below 50. If you look at that RSI in the daily, it's come, screaming down pretty quickly. If you look on a smaller time frame, let's go to the 1 hour. You can say that it's already over oversold, and I don't know, these moves are quite violent, they're quite big. Here's would be the first opportunity here for, check this out though. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and that line over here, I'm just gonna grab it and take it and just jump down over to here. Doesn't line up, so something's wrong with my TA then. Not really, it just doesn't line up. Is the market, there's an underbelly, right? Bring it down. What I was looking at is if this is some type of downward sloping channel and you see the pierce down below here, that often signifies that you're getting ready for a bounce. Now, I'm not saying silver's going to bounce and recover to all-time highs, and I'm not saying it's not. These are volatile markets that we're currently participating in, and volatility begets volatility, but we could see a little bit of a bounce of a couple of dollars easily. That pattern I just want to bring to your attention really quick as we look at what's going on here with the cross between Bitcoin and gold, and we'll start with Bitcoin and silver first. And you can see that, you know what, these things could escalate quickly, and you have over here not, it was much more aggressive. Let me come down to a daily over here, and you can see that that descending wedge, and it broke down right over here. Just like we were just looking at silver on the hourly, this is the Bitcoin silver ratio on the daily, and I'll just jump back to that in 1 second. I just want to start off with this chart over here and just looking around and finding out where I want to grab it from. And then right over here, Bitcoin, we've been talking about how, you know what, obviously we were seeing silver beginning to outpace gold, and we were talking about the cross, and I was talking about, you know what, I don't see it going much lower right now than this particular level that we bottomed at, and it could have went down into here as well, we said. And then at that point, we probably see a little bit of a reprieve. Now, this one came really quick and really sharp. So I won't be surprised personally if it's actually faded and moving out, sometime into the future, whether it's a week 2 or 3, we see that actually silver is outpacing gold again to the downside, and maybe even make a lower low over here and come back, and then ultimately see that gold is able to regain some of its momentum against silver. I don't just looking for on the crossover here an opportunity of when you would see a trend change, and I don't see it, and yet and I didn't see it on Bitcoin either. On Bitcoin, people were talking about where's the recovery, where's the repair, and I was like, I don't see it yesterday. I just don't see it, and I said we just have to get back above the yellow line. We're back above the yellow line, and obviously this is not really a T8. I wonder if that high over here before yesterday, it coincides with the break above the yellow line, but so whatever. We're back above the yellow line. We are seeing that pending close on the Cardano short, 7 hours from now. And we're looking at getting close here to potentially some long side entries on Bitcoin, as well as with Bitcoin bull runs is very close. We still got the JV filter is not yet ready for action. So we're just on the sidelines, and I'll come back to stocks in a minute. I was talking about the gold to silver and bringing up, you could see the breakdown of the pattern. You could see that occurring on Bitcoin silver and into an area of pretty strong resistance. What's my read on this? Are we about to see this grand and great rotation of the metals into Bitcoin? I personally don't think so. I think that we have seen these markets going vertical up, and to get that volatility, it just makes sense. I'm sure that there were a lot of people on leverage that were washed out today, and I don't have anything more in this moment to read into those moves. We have some context, by the way, and some context is this is looking at gold and the move down you're seeing today. I mean, you're just so used to seeing gold going up 1-2% a day, that when you see it come down 5%, you're like, wow. And maybe it is. It certainly could be, obviously, the beginning of what is going to be an era of consolidation, and the better. If that were to happen and we were to enter into a multi-month of gold actually consolidating, that would be, look, let me just bring this up. And this is first, let me show you silver. It's the same thing over here, just to give you a little bit of context. But we have the bulls in the background today, but I don't turn bullish until we get through the period ahead of us. And that period ahead of us, don't forget, is we have the 29th, we have big tech earnings, and it's really important because we have obviously this whole AI narrative in play. And if at any point we see Microsoft, Meta, or Alphabet back off about what their spending is going to be ahead, at that point in time, these companies aren't earning off the AI, and the one earning is mostly Nvidia. And Nvidia's like, well, I might as well invest in OpenAI, who's spending here. And if they stop spending, that would be a definite pivotal point that we have to watch out for. I don't perceive that's going to happen. And then we have, obviously, just a couple of days after that, on Friday the 31st, we have the summit taking place, and then the following Saturday between President Xi and Trump. And that needs to walk away with a lot more pre-summit, right? Like, I'm not saying that they're going to come to any type of deal, which are they coming to a grand deal? That would be incredibly bullish for markets if they were. If they're able to walk away and they're able to continue working together on whatever terms there are, that will be fine, and markets will be able to go ahead and continue what is a favorable time of the seasons. And look at this over here. You are here right now. And that's what is so funny. Look at the flows. And the flows coming into right next week are not so positive. And then also next week, we have a lot of like bracing just in case things don't go well, right? And they might not go well. I think they're going to go well. I think we get to walk into November and then like the two greatest risks that were in the near term, China and the USA, and then, CapEx spending, they get to be pacified. And if that happens, seasonalities into the end of the year likely are going to carry. And you can see off a 20% drawdown, we still maintain that track of the most similar year. This track over here, the blue one, that was 1998. 1998 was coming off of 2 years of 20% plus gains on the S&P 500, just like this one. Coming out of the 20% correction, you could see how closely the two are aligned, and this is just, we've been defying gravity. A lot of people are calling us late cycle right now. A lot of people that say that we're late cycle are saying like we're not early cycle. Listen, this is the third year of the bull market. If anyone thinks that you're early cycle, the only people I even hear the two words early cycle out of are the people that have been looking for the crash and the recession to come, who are not early on early cycle in 2023. Right, 2024. Okay, this is obviously a bull market. Now it's coming to an end. Past 2025. You know, uh, you know. Anyway, a little bit of a rant, but you got to rant. You got to rant over here. We're just off of all-time highs on the Nasdaq. Oh, hold on. Sorry, y'all. I was looking at this chart and y'all missed it, but you heard it, and it doesn't really matter. There we are. I was talking about 1998 and the blue line that's right over here, and we continue tracking very closely the 1998 track. And well, that is there anything similar? Fed was cutting over here in 1998. It led to a crack boom. Boom, not really a crack boom, but it certainly was a boom. I think we have over here a nice slide that illustrates it pretty well. If I could find it, I've been a little off on that. I'm gonna have to get better on that. It's right here though. Nope, right here. And here you could see right over here that the Fed begins cutting. I can't find out exactly where it is. So this looks like the 20% in 1998, maybe. I don't see it well, but point being, Fed cutting somewhere over here in 1998, and then zoom. Similar situation occurring. Now, this doesn't have, just because we're not outside these deviations doesn't mean that we're not incredibly oversold, or that we're not going to like that a crash of a mega magnitude cannot happen. Look over here. He should have the lines over here, the deviations, right? And we weren't extended out of them whatsoever. And that was the great financial crisis and the birth of this new era of QE that has led to a massive devaluation of the underlining. And listen, there's no return to normalcy. The Fed has run off a lot of the expansion of their balance sheet over the last couple of years, but that's coming to an end. They have just said that they are about to completely wind down QT. The next thing that happens could be a pause. They might just pause the balance sheet, or they might begin expanding it upwards. And you know what? Either way, the next move after eventually is going to be they're going to be expanding that balance sheet upwards. Bitcoin over here, let's take a look. Gabby, I'm not sure. It's a good question. I think that you've heard, you know, like right now, the Chinese are not buying any NVIDIA chips. They were one of the largest customers of NVIDIA, and now they're not buying any. And they're like, all right, we're just going to kind of like, we're going to begin producing our own. And I know that we have a lot of catch up to do, but you know what? They're going to do it eventually. I imagine right now, NVIDIA obviously has the dominance and the head start, and probably the wrong thing to do, at least from NVIDIA's perspective, was to put these limitations on the Chinese as far as buying their chips. It forces them to have to go in and become self-sufficient. It's not much different what the US is doing as far as becoming now completely reliant on the Chinese and trying, at least for certain essentials, to break free from that. Same thing here with the Chinese. Um, are is open is sorry is Nvidia being forced to invest in OpenAI's growth is absolutely tremendous. It is breathtakingly fast. Does it make sense if you're Nvidia and you're sitting on a ton of cash to invest some of that into OpenAI? I think so for two reasons. You get to participate in the growth, assuming that they succeed, and then as well as you're also at the same time giving them money to continue to fund your operations. It seems like a win to win to me. If you could invest into OpenAI, would you do it? And I guess some people on Robinhood, at least Robinhood Europe, you're able to go ahead and do that. You're not really investing in the company. You're just investing in a token that supposedly is tracking the company. But the point being is that, you know what? Is it Fugazi? Completely. Is the same thing that's happening with Oracle? Fugazi? Completely. If this thing crashes and burns down, will people look back and be like, see, I told you? Absolutely. If this thing continues to, to take off and looking back 3 years from now, is Nvidia's open AI investment gonna have been and looked like one of, are they gonna be able to 5x that in 3 years or 10x it? Potentially. So it's hard to say, if like OpenAI, their growth is like unlike anything else we've ever seen before. And like if that growth were to slow down, that would be a different story. It's hard to say. I think that if anyone had, does anyone know how much Nvidia has in cash? I'm gonna say it's significant. And if you had a significant amount of cash and had the opportunity to invest in OpenAI, would you do it? I mean, or would you wouldn't do it? Okay, that's fine. You know, I don't know what to say. What about Tesla? Like, would you rather invest in XAI? No, I shouldn't have said Tesla. XAI, or would you rather invest in OpenAI? Are you betting on Sam or are you betting on Tesla? And I happen to gravitate towards, Elon, and I believe in Elon. Did you see that tweet yesterday that Elon has either been a co-founder or a founder of the top growing company in the world, OpenAI, and then Tesla, XAI is number 5. Uh, Tesla in the top 10, SpaceX number 2. I mean, you know, but as it is, all the people I know in my life, all the normal people, they don't use Tesla and they don't use X and they're not using Grok. They're using ChatGPT and it's just what it is. And even though I use multi-models for many different things, most people use ChatGPT. And brand awareness is a really strong thing. It's a really strong thing. Are people going to be migrating from OpenAI and begin using Grok? Or are they more apt to use maybe some type of llama on Instagram? Bitcoin bull runs. Did you see the interview with Tucker Carlson and Sam Altman? I think that's my favorite interview of the year. And if you've seen that, you know what I'm talking about. And Tucker's basically asking him, like, did you kill that employee? And Sam's like, I feel very uncomfortable with someone asking me that. All right. Wait, we got cash on hand. I want to check that out over there. Nvidia cash on hand is $53 billion. All right, they're no Apple. Apple iPhones continuing to sell. Um, you're right, and big fan of everything Alphabet continues to do. How much of SpaceX does Alphabet own? 10%. So I don't know, we're just ranting a little bit, but that's fine. And is this nothing more than a little bit of a bounce and noise? Look, most importantly, I just want to tell you, we got the Bulls in the background today, but you know what? This next week and coming into those main events of next week, we see that the flows are negative. We got a reason for people to be cautious. Bears unable to make a move, even this morning trying to make a move, unable to make a move, and the path up has been relentless. It could continue to be next week. I'm looking forward to being able to talk about with all of you what happens after we move past this area of interest. And then I just want to jump back and talk about our positioning. Nvidia getting stopped out over here. And then we're seeing the close pending on MicroStrategy as Bitcoin is going bid. That could be ugly if Bitcoin continues overnight its relentless ascent. The exit here would be tomorrow morning on the open. And then right now we have a Fang Plus FNGU pending long like that. Here we are. So we're just right now in this like lightly positioned over here. And as we feel out what's in store, what's next. Moonshots, I started, someone, maybe it was you, Dog Nation, recommended it. I've listened to now in the past couple of weeks 2 episodes, and there's so much to learn there. Like everything that I'm hearing is completely new to me, and so I'm enjoying that podcast a lot. The other ones that remain my go-to listens are Macro Voices. I listen to regularly. What are the other ones I do? Occasionally, like just for fun, makes me feel old. Guns, Goats, and it should be Bitcoin. Guns, Goats, and Bitcoin. It's Guns, Goats, and Gold though. And you know, there's just interesting let's say thoughts put out there. Track record of being right. I don't know. What else do I enjoy? I enjoy for sure the occasional TFTC podcast with Marty Bent. I'm a long time rabbit hole recap listener, uh, all the way back into early 2017. Trump is on. What is Trump doing? I don't like it either. Perplexity. Oh, I'm glad you mentioned that, Deep Hour. And I haven't used Perplexity in a minute. It's one of my favorites as well. Perplexity is one of my favorite LLMs. Um, for all you builders out there, Cursor AI. If you're a dev with skills, Cursor AI is a significant tool to get into. A lot of devs that I work with used Gemini's. Um, yeah, there's so many good options. Um, I like Grok just for asking like normal like search stuff that you would normally in the past have used into a search engine. So on a deeper perspective over here, to zoom in back over here and the war that has the war that's transpiring, let's take a look at what is more like where I am right now. Over here seems to be like the middle ground. You could draw a channel like from here to here, and this channel uprising over here seems to be the middle ground. I wouldn't be surprised if gold moves in towards consolidation and Bitcoin is able to make a new all-time high, work its way into the end of the year, 140, 150, then you're going to see very quickly that the move on Bitcoin against gold is going. I'm looking at silver. Same difference though. Same difference, different market cap. And speaking of market cap, did you see this? Let me just jump back and find one more thing with you all. How quickly silver with a $2.9 trillion market cap just the other day Bitcoin with a 2.1, $2 trillion market cap, and how quickly they have been able to converge. I loved what I've loved most about the last few months is seeing the magnitude of gold market cap and even silver. Silver going from a 2 to $3 trillion market cap like this. We're seeing gold, put on a $10 trillion market cap over the last 18 months or whatever have you, that it really makes you understand that, why it's true. You have to ask yourself, where is the money going to come from? But at the same time, if sellers pull back and you're not seeing people selling, like, have you been seeing people selling gold? Only the same people that have always been trying to pick the tops the whole way up. Not too many. Most people are there hasn't been many sellers on gold, and you've been able to see with even less buying that price moves up. Once these OG wallets that have been distributing throughout 2025, when they ever get to an equilibrium where they have a much higher price point, it really could see how that Bitcoin could swiftly be able to make that rise. Big shout out to everyone here all over the world, especially those out on the replay crew. Especially lots of love to everyone here live making this happen every day. Guys, we're gonna keep this one here short and sweet, and we're gonna continue back at it tomorrow. Have a beautiful day, everyone. Stay on the right side, put the work in, stay humble, and let's go. I'll see you all tomorrow. Have a beautiful day, everyone.